if you look at, I think that I talked about this last year, one of the weakest things of the tongue system, again, it's not knowing what you're good at, you need to know what you're not good at. The tongue system, it's really not good at emotional issues, and I don't think it's really good at muscular issues in the back. If any of you ever treated overseas, having tight neck and shoulders versus the one lady we had, hers is from falling on the neck, from bad pillow sleeping. But usually tight neck and upper shoulders is somewhat of a modern day era problem. Most people overseas in really poor countries don't have that. They typically have neck pain from cervical compression, from like carrying things on their head, working too hard. And you'll see most of Master Tongue points are always about treating the spine. Because he was treating in the old days with manual labor, poor country, people that are out in the farms all day. And also if you look at poor people, and I don't mean poor, but poor as in other, like third world countries and things. I mean, they're richer in other ways. I don't mean poor, but non-modern world countries, they're usually not depressed. Depression is something of a modern day country problem. Most of the happiest people I ever met are the people that are monetarily the poorest. And so you don't see a lot of points in the tongue system for depression, because when you're trying to get food and water and survive, you don't got time to bitch about your friends on Facebook. And if any of you know me, I've been through some of that bullshit lately. Right? But that's a modern day problem. I mean, if I was worried about putting a roof over my kid's head and put food and survive from the tigers and the lions, I wouldn't care what you said about me on Facebook. It's a modern day problem. Depression is relatively a new concept. This depression of lack. You know, certainly some people are born that way. You know, God puts you together with a bad brain chemistry and you just are depressed. There's certainly a medical condition, I agree. But this modern day depression of frustration and anxiety and materialism and things like that, dysthemia, which we call when you're depressed because of an outside situation, that's really a modern day problem. And so you don't see a lot of the points in the tongue system for stress. You didn't see it. I would imagine if tongue was still alive today, we'd have more points for stress because it's a newer problem. Just like you don't see a lot of points for cancer or diabetes. They didn't have it back then. So that's why in the tongue stuff you see a lot of BS stuff for like mumps and rumps and furbuncles and carbuncles and boils, and we don't see that stuff nowadays. We don't. So that would certainly be the weakness of the tongue system, and that's why you saw my default to more of a ton system. I still feel the weakness of the tongue system is treating muscular issues in the upper neck, because that wasn't a problem they saw, and treating stress. So I do treat everyone differently when it comes to neck. And most of the points in the tongue system for neck pain are typically more of a cervical problem or a bone problem. And that will help with the muscles when your tight upper neck and shoulders are from your neck, then that works great. But if it's just this, you know, I work all day on my computer, I drive home, I'm pissed off, right? Traffic, that stuff, that's certainly the weakness of the system. And that's because they never saw it. Does that make sense? Yeah, I still like the tongue stuff. I kind of screw on with the ton stuff. That's why I got the motor point stuff. I'm always kind of, you know, I'm always trying to love my wife a little bit better. You know, I'm always trying to keep the relationship new and exciting. And same thing with acupuncture. You always got to look at yourself and say, wow, where do I feel weak? Not everyone has all the answers. And for someone to sit up here and say they can fix everything all the time is an absolute lie. Nobody does. So again, being a strong doctor is not being strong. I mean, a strong doctor is knowing your weakness. That makes you strong. So.